We're the Ghostbusters.
I'm Spencer. He's Tracy.
I'm Kong. We're the Ghostbusters. We're clever.
All right, it's a Saturday morning, just like in 1975. Did everyone have their, Captain Crunch this morning? Right? We're going to sit down in front of the television, watch Saturday morning cartoons. Filmation, of course, was the king of Saturday morning cartoons at the time. But one show that they did was not a cartoon, it was live action, and that's what we're here to celebrate today. So what we're going to do is we're going to start out by showing an episode of this show. Have any of you heard of it before? Ghostbusters? Long before Dan Aykroyd and Bill Murray did Busting in New York City, these guys did it out here. And it's a wonderfully funny, wacky, silly show that had some of the greatest comic actors of all time in it. And so we're going to show an episode first, and after the episode, we're going to sit down with, I'm sorry, did you have a question? Yes, already. I'm trying to find Larry? Okay, well, I can vamp only so long. So, all right, let's see, what can we talk about? I'm supposed to kill some time. Any questions about the show so far?
You're showing ISIS, right?
ISIS, yeah, that's a different meaning these days. Is that Mickey Allen? Who's that?
No, you said you have a question.
Oh, do you have a question?
Does anybody remember the theme song?
Oh, come on. Everybody, ready? We're the Ghostbusters.
Courageous, fearless, and strong.
I didn't have to sing it.
No, actually, just Larry and Tuck, right? Got to sing it, yeah. Which, and how does that go again? You can still do that. That's pretty remarkable, huh? Can you believe it? He's only 95. You do remember the show, right? You do remember doing the show, don't you? This is going to be a really short Q&A, guys.
Larry still thinks he's doing good.
Larry still thinks he's doing the after. Well, we kind of have to start it, unfortunately, because otherwise we're gonna run out of time. Yeah, right. The show. How long is an episode, Bob?
It's about 140 minutes.
140 minutes.
No, it gets short.
Yeah, back then, what was like a half-hour show, you'd have like 22 minutes, something like that. Yeah. Have we sent out people to try to find Larry? Oh, that's why. Okay, I see Kathy Burns, and she's waving at somebody, and it could be Larry. Could be. He's coming. He's coming. Fantastic. All right. Let's embarrass him. As Larry walks in, I'm going to say, "Thank you for coming, everyone." Start to get out of here.
I like it.
Hey, Mr. Storch, come on, have a seat. So, what's the episode, Bob?
It's Vampire's Apprentice.
The Vampire's Apprentice.
It's pretty cool. Yeah, Larry becomes a vampire.
And Larry becomes a vampire.
You know, he's an old sucker.
Hello, Larry. Welcome. We're going to show an episode of Ghostbusters, and then I'll have you and Bob come up. Go, Larry, sit down. That's your seat. There we go. All right, so we're good. Is that middle seat for me?
Anybody that wants to try to get
I'll fight you for it. All right, let's get this rolling with the episode of the Ghostbusters called The Vampire's Apprentice. Yeah, it's the subtlety that I love. All right, so that was an episode, a very funny episode, by the way, guys. Congratulations. Let's bring up the boys and have a chat, shall we? So we have with us today, first of all, the trainer of Tracy the Gorilla. You might recognize this man, Bob Burns. Come on, no, don't do that. Bob is famous for his pratfalls. Yeah, did one the other night apparently. Why don't you have a seat on the end, as far away from me as possible, please. And joining Bob, if you watched television at all in the 60s and 70s and 80s, you couldn't change your, maybe 9 channels without seeing this man. One of the funniest men in the world, Larry Storch.
This thing work?
Good morning, boys and girls.
Put it right there, Larry. You know, Larry, you did a great job as that gorilla in the show.
Well, the training I got, of course I did.
All right, so 1975.
Yes.
Yeah. Now, Larry, you had success earlier with F Troop, which also starred Forrest Tucker.
Yeah.
Did this come about because of your relationship with Forrest Tucker?
Forrest Tucker was my fairy godfather. He got me into everything that he was involved in. And I'm always very grateful to him. Yes.
Yeah. Bob, they were already a part of the show when you came on board. Is that correct?
Oh, yeah. Tuck and Larry were doing the show, and they needed a gorilla. They had to find somebody. And I hadn't shaved that day. I don't lie. So they were trying to find a gorilla guy that could be funny or whatever. And they had another guy set up who was funny too. It was great. But his agent at the last minute doubled his salary thing. And of course, Filmation being Filmation, they couldn't afford it. So they went down and looked at all the gorilla suits and Western costume, and they were all terrible. Everyone was awful. So I happened to work with a gal at CBS. I was a CBS film editor, or re-editor, what do you want to call it? I played her on CBS for a long time, years and years. So I was there, and she came running upstairs and said, I was at a meeting last night, a director's meeting or some sort of a thing, and Lou Scheimer was there. He's one of the co-producers of the show. And he was like in bad shape. He was just feeling awful because they had this gorilla thing. He crapped out on him and didn't know what to do. And she said, well, my buddy has a gorilla suit he uses all the time. And the guy just said, so any way we can see him tomorrow? I mean, it's a make or break thing. Because Tuck and Larry are on board, they're ready to go, and whatever, And so we went down, and I dressed in the suit, and that's always a funny thing when you're in the suit in the passenger seat, and somebody pulls up beside you. It always looks really neat when a gorilla looks over you, like that. A lot of cars almost wrecked. So we got over there, and I didn't know what to do. And they said, I think it was Mark Richards, the creator of the show, who wrote the show, said, now here's Tracy. He's not human. He can't talk, but he can pantomime. He can snort. He can draw. He can do all kinds of things. Now, if you were Tracy the Gorilla, how would you do that? And I was thinking, geez, I've never auditioned like this before, And so I just thought there was a chair there by the director's, or the producer's thing, and I just sat there and crossed my leg like I normally do, sit this way, and I picked up a copy of the Variety, and Mark Richards says, there's Tracy the Gorilla. 2 days later, we were shooting, and that was it, But the weirdest thing with Tuck and Larry, I mean, I idolized both these guys. I mean, they were gods to me. And to get to work with them, but then I had to think, wait a minute, I'm the new kid on the block. I'm like, don't work with kids and animals, because they'll upstage you no matter what. And I thought, I don't want to do that to these guys, because they'll kill me, So the first shot we did, in the rehearsal, I did all kinds of shtick and stuff that you had to do in a suit. And during the shot, I looked at Tuck, and he looked like he was giving me kind of not a nasty look, but like, apprehensive or something. So I said, oh, we better hold back. So we did the shot, and I held back. And so Norm Abbott, the director, he came over and said, look, Bob, we've got to, what are you doing? I said, I got a problem. I got to talk to these guys. I really do. You better get it over with. We got 15 shows to do in 9 weeks. And we got to roll. So I went over, and they're both sitting there, just, talking and saying, I walked over and I says, guys, can I talk to you for a second? They both look up, and Tuck says, yeah, what's the matter? I said, well, I got a problem. And he goes, what the hell could be your problem? This is our first day. Jeez. And I said, well, I think that I'm upstaging you guys when I'm doing this stuff. And Tuck looks at me and gives me this really funny look, and I'm thinking, this is it. I'll be out in the street. And he said, I'm too old for that kind of stuff now. I said, I don't have an ego anymore. I don't even remember what it is. And he looked at Larry and he says, and Larry still thinks he's doing F-Troop. And he said, if you can stand behind me and go, boom, he said, we're here to make people laugh. That's what we're going to do. And boy, from that day on, I never had any kind of problems at all. These guys were so supportive of me. I mean, of just helping me any way they could, doing whatever they could do. And I have never in my life had such a fun time that I ever had, and I'll never have that time again now, of doing work with these guys. It was like I dived on heaven, literally. It was the greatest thing. It was great. I think of the feeling now, and I almost want to cry, because when the show was over, I did cry quite a bit. It was like, when a Broadway show closes, you go, oh shit, it's over. And I thought I was over too, I didn't know, But anyway, it was just working with Larry, he also got me into sushi. Now, this is 1975. Sushi wasn't a real big thing then. We're coming home one day, and I'm driving him home, and he goes, he said, you ever had sushi? And I said, what the hell is that? He said, raw fish. And I went, raw fish, oh yeah, sure. He said, no, I'm serious. And he says, there's a little place right here on, what street I was even on, I don't know, but he knew all about it. We pulled in there, and he said, I'm gonna order a big platter. You don't like it, I'll eat it. And I said, okay. So he got it, and I saw this stuff, and I thought, oh, Jesus. I mean, that's just like somebody threw it on a plate, I'm not a guy to eat real raw stuff, And so I took a bite of it, and I've loved it ever since. Now I'm a captive. I have to have sushi at least once a week, or I can't function. And it's your fault. It's all your fault.
But you were talking about working together. Larry, you're a stand-up guy from way back. You're used to thinking on your feet, and I'm wondering, to watch an episode like that, how much were you guys allowed to ad-lib from the script?
I don't think we ad-libbed too much, did we?
Just a few times, if something funny kind of came, we thought we should do, and I said, do it. But Larry was even half the stuff he said, I think, was still ad-lib.
The wonderful thing, the funny thing was, I didn't recognize him at all. When he took off his gorilla suit, I didn't know who I was talking to. It was only after he put on the that I felt comfortable.
Was it weird? I mean, obviously you had a relationship with Tuck, but was it a little weird to be working every episode with a gorilla?
Well, no, not really. I enjoyed it. I love doing the Ghostbusters. I did.
Great show.